Lord Krishna said this action, inaction, it's difficult to understand. Most people in this world don't understand that. If they would understand the subtle laws of material nature, ruling the law of karma, they would act differently. But even for those who are philosophically inclined, it's not easy to understand. One cannot really understand it without accepting the principles, the basic principles of Krishna consciousness. I will read three verses. 3 verses, 4:18, 4:19, and 4:20. Karman akarmaya pashat akarmani sakarmaja sabuddhiman manusyasu sayukta krishna karmakrit. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. 19. Yasya service savaramba kama sankalpa varchita chechnarti dachta karmanan tamau panditam buddha. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by the sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burnt up by the fire of perfect action. 6:20. Tyaktva karma phalasangam nitya tripto nirasraya. Kamana bhavito pi naiva kinchit karoti sa. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. So in the first verse, Krishna speaks about action in inaction and inaction in action. It's very important to understand that. Inaction in action. Inaction within action. If one acts spiritually, then one is materially inactive. If one is materially inactive, there are no reactions, no karmic reactions. So materially one is inactive, while on the spiritual platform one is active. So that means seeing inaction in action. One sees the action is spiritual, and materially it's inaction. An example: acting spiritually. You offer your food to Krishna, and then you honor the prasad. You don't get karma for that, you get purified. So materially you are inactive. But if you are not offering your food to Krishna, you are responsible for the killing of the animals, or killing of the vegetables, the same. You get reactions for that. So you are materially active. So therefore we should always acting spiritually. Then there is materially there is inaction, no reaction. no suffering for your deeds. So that's important. And the other is seeing action in inaction. Action within inaction. So the jnanis and the yogis, they stop acting, they meditate. So they are, one can say they are materially inactive. But still they are breathing. They are killing so many microbes by one breath that they must eat. So they get also reactions for that. Although they are so-called inactive, materially they are active. So that principle must be understood. Not easy to understand. But when one understands it and applies that, one acts on a liberated platform. You act always spiritually. Spiritually means I give up the fruits of my activities. I feel satisfied. And I give the results to Krishna. So, therefore, Baladev Vidyabhushan says, yes, intently engage in actions, but having given up the desire for the fruits, being always satisfied in the future realization of Atma, and not dependent on others, this person does nothing at all. So materially, you don't do anything. You act on the order of Krishna. Arjuna was acting on the order of Krishna, killing on the battlefield. But he was not materially acting. If he would have materially acted, wanting a kingdom in heaven and therefore I fight. But anyway, a kshatriya who acts out of duty alone does not get reactions. But because he did it for Krishna, he was performing it out of duty, the highest duty. It's the highest duty, was the highest duty of everyone. It's called parodharmo, the highest duty. Savai punsa parodharmo yato bhaktya doksya ahait kapatiyata yatma shupasiddhati. It means that this parodharmo is the highest occupational duty for mankind. That it's acting out of love for Krishna, without any material motivation, and always without interruption. That's pure devotional service. If you act like that, you act completely spiritual. And as a side effect, you get jnana, you get realizations within spiritual realizations, and you become purified. So action in action, in action, in action. Very important to understand that. Action, yeah, inaction in action. Inaction within the action. If the action is spiritual, one is inactive. You don't get reactions in this world. You don't push the button of material nature. You push this button with your desire. But if you desire for Krishna, you push the spiritual button and no reaction. So that is inaction within material inaction within spiritual action. And the opposite is that There's action within inaction even. There's material action within material inaction. If we renounce, we give everything up, we don't act, still you act. You are breathing, you are eating, still you are. You cannot be inactive. Krishna said that in the third chapter. Next slide. Freedom from the bondage of action is possibly only in Krishna consciousness, when one is doing everything for Krishna. And that's the point. You do everything for Krishna, you come under the spiritual energy. We are not a doer in this world. We are just a servant of Krishna. If you don't serve Krishna, then you are the doer and you are responsible. And you get a bill. You want to enjoy, you must pay. And you must take birth again and die again, just as a price for that, to get your reactions. You are responsible. Srila Prabhupada gives the example that a soldier is fighting, kills the animal, kills the enemy, and he gets a medal. He's a hero. But the soldier outside the wartime kills someone, it's murder, he goes in prison. He's responsible. That's the example Srila Prabhupada gives many times. A person in Krishna consciousness, an unattached person, is always free from the resultant reactions of good and bad. It is though he were not doing anything. This is a sign of karma, or actions without fruitive reactions. Actions without fruitive reactions. Krishna consciousness is akarma. Akarma. Vikarma are activities that cause suffering. And karma, or sukarma, is good karma, gives happiness, but it's also bad because you have to take birth again to get that happiness for the body. And it's happiness for the body and mind, not for the soul, not for us. It's because we identify with the body that we experience it. That we identify with the mind, we take this happiness and distress so serious. But the Krishna conscious person steps back and sees I'm only the observer. I don't control the circumstances of my life. The one who identifies with the body and mind thinks, yes, I'm going to be happy. I work for that, I do this and that. But does it work out? I'm going to get so much money and so on. You see, I'm sure that there are billions of people with that idea who got frustrated when the coronavirus came up. All their plans were gone. So we are not in control. We must, what do we control? Our desires that we control. So we should change our desires. That's the beginning. Then do it for Krishna. Desire to do everything for Krishna. And when you do that, then you become unattached. A person in Krishna consciousness, an unattached person, is always free from the resultant reactions of good and bad. It is though we were not doing anything. That is a sign of karma, or actions without fruitive reactions. So next slide. It's a reflection. Do I act for Krishna or for my own personal benefit? So it's up to us whether we are under the law of karma or under the spiritual law. Verse 21. Nirasiriyata sittat matyaktva sarva parigraha sariram kevalam karma kurvam apnoti kilbisam. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence, perfectly controls, gives up all sense of proprietorship over possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. So that is, yes, it's like a devotee. He works just for the bare necessities of life. What are the bare necessities of life? Good food, shelter, heating, a place to live. You can take a shower every day, can cook something. So very simple, what we need, what we really need. Not what our mind says what we need. Many times that's different. The mind will say you need that, this, that, and that. No, very simple. But what you really need, that. It's like you have a machine and you keep it running. Oiling the machine, it said on the slide here. As a machine part requires oiling and cleaning for maintenance, so Krishna conscious man maintains himself by his work just to remain fit for action in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. He is therefore immune to all the reactions of his endeavors. Therefore, he's immune, that you don't get reactions. That just keep yourself fit. Do all what necessary is for your health. Good health is very important. Do exercises and have an appropriate diet, that you keep the body healthy for your service. That oiling the machine, that oiling of the machine when you are young and get older may be different. That Srila Prabhupada got everyday massage and made a walk in the morning. That, yes. Good. Next. Text 22. Yatrisha labashantusto tvanfatito vimachara samasida vasidosha kripva pina nibachate. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of his own accord, who is free from the duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. So a devotee does not get reactions on his activity or from his activities. Why? So the Prabhupada writes, a Krishna conscious person does not expect good or bad results in his activities. He is not working for the results. It's not that he does not strive to have good results for Krishna, but it's not working for the results, it's working for Krishna. The Krishna conscious person, fully engaged in self-realization, has little time to falsely possess any material object. So a devotee is too busy in devotional service, too much things to do. My Guru Maharaj, Prakshara Maharaj, yesterday gave a class on the internet. I said, I give 6 classes a day. So that's quite busy. And then it's GBC duties, there's no time, too busy, too busy. Too busy to think this is mine or to meditate on something for my sense gratification. Too busy. And that's the devotee, has little time for all these things. Is too busy with serving Krishna in so many ways. Good, next. Inner satisfaction. A Krishna conscious person is satisfied with gains which are obtained of their own accord. He is satisfied with what is obtained by his own honest labor. So whatever he gets, he sees as Krishna's mercy. That we have all different karmas and we get different results of our activities according to our past karma. But for the devotee, he feels satisfied with that. Because he knows in previous life I did probably this and that, and therefore I get its result now. That's due to the law of karma, that's Krishna's law. So I get exactly what I deserve. Thank you, Krishna. Whatever you give me is good. I will be satisfied with whatever I get. So that's a devotee, always feeling satisfied, because he does not try to achieve anything in this world, because it's all temporary. He has no interest in achieving things in this world. He does not try to become happy in this world. Prahlad Maharaj said, you will feel happy when you start stopping trying to become happy. Next. This is a reflection. How would the past have been different if I acted always without attachment and aversion towards happiness and distress, and without any sense of possessiveness, always satisfied with what comes on his own accord? So in the past, probably all of us has acted mainly about attachment and aversion. That's why we acted. But and did we feel satisfied? No. So we could have done it differently in the past. So don't repeat these errors. We look at our own past and we see all the trouble what we went to, and we suffer because of our attachment and aversion. But when you are always engaged in Krishna and his service, then no time to meditate on this attachment and aversion. Next, and now we come at a new section. This section Krishna will discuss different kinds of sacrifices for different people. So we go 2 slides further, verse 24. Brahmachpanam brahmahavir brahmachna brahmaniyutam pamaiva tena gantavyam brahmakarma samadhina. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered of the same spiritual nature. So you see here pictures of milk and curd or yogurt that, and Srila Prabhupada mentions that in the purport. A patient who is suffering from a disorder of the bowels due to overindulgence in milk products is cured by another milk product, namely curds. The materially absorbed conditioned soul can be cured by Krishna consciousness and set forth here in the Gita. So it seems in the Vedic knowledge that that if you drink too much milk and you have overindulgence in milk, you can cure it by eating yogurt or curd. That's interesting. So, but it's the same product. It comes from the milk from the cow, right? It's the same product. So it means we have this body, we can use it materially and get reactions, but we can also use the same body, the same product, the same body in Krishna's service and become purified. So we can use, the body is, as Srila Prabhupada said, is a bad bargain. Bad bargain because it gives us suffering in so many ways. But we can use the material body in Krishna's service. And then it becomes an instrument, then it is at our benefit. So by that it can help us to cure the disease. But here it's also everything what is offered to Krishna is of the same nature, becomes spiritual. If we use our body in the service of Krishna, it will become spiritual. It becomes spiritualized. So although the body is matter, if it's constantly engaged in the Krishna service, it becomes spiritual. Therefore, the body of a pure devotee, like Prabhupada and others who are constantly engaged in the Lord's service, that body is pure spiritual. So Srila Prabhupada's body was spiritual, although it looks material. No, it's spiritual. So if we cook for Krishna, then it's bhoga. Bhoga means for enjoyment, but we give the enjoyment on to Krishna. And then the food becomes spiritual food. So that is the method to turn matter into spirit. In America in the 70s, one devotee went to the university and he made an announcement, please come, please attend attend our research program. We will show how to turn matter into spirit. And many students came and they offered the food to the deity of Krishna and then distributed that. So that's explained here. Srila Prabhupada said, matter dovetailed for the cause of the absolute regains its spiritual quality. Because everything comes from spirit. Matter comes from spirit. Comes from Brahman. That spirit, matter develops because of the spirit. We have a lemon tree, comes from a little seed, the tree. Inside the seed is the spirit soul. And therefore the tree grows, and therefore the tree produces lemons. Lemons is acid, chemicals. Chemicals come from the spirit. Without the spirit presence of the spirit soul, that will not develop. Not possible. And even this earth, within there is the soul of Mother Earth, the deity of the planet. That principle is everywhere. Matter comes from spirit. Krishna consciousness is the process of converting the illusory consciousness into Brahman, or the Supreme. It's illusory consciousness means we try to get happiness from matter. But how can the spirit soul, which is spiritual, get benefit from matter? You can give the benefit to the body maybe and identify with the body, but that's illusion. Next, reflection. Which path do I choose? Converting spirit into matter or matter into spirit? It's up to us. Yeah, we have been expert in turning spirit into matter, but now we have to become a doctor in how to change matter into spirit. And Srila Prabhupada said, unless you become a doctor in the science of the spirit soul in this lifetime, your life is wasted. So Srila Prabhupada, next section, describes various sacrificing results. 25. Devam eva parejahyam yogna paripaste pramanach aparejahyam shakyanaivo pachuvati. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods, offering different sacrifices to them, and some offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. So you have here a picture of demigod worshippers. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, a person engaged in the charging duties in Krishna consciousness is also called a perfect yogi or first-class mystic. But there are also others. So in the previous verse, the perfect yogi is described who turns matter into spirit. But here you have others. We have the demigod worshippers, and those who worship the impersonal Brahman. Worship of demigods by karma yogis, fruitive workers sacrifice their material possessions for material enjoyment. So they give up, they give everything or use everything in sacrifices, all the possessions that they have to get material enjoyment. That they work for enjoyment. And the worship of the impersonal Brahman by offering their identity into Brahman. They are studying the scriptures, Sankhya, to understand the difference from matter and spirit. And they try to identify themselves with Brahman and merge with Brahman. They think Brahman is God. That's the absolute truth. And I become one with the absolute truth, and I lose my individuality, and that's what they want. It's an illusion. Because it's not possible. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the soul cannot be cut to pieces, cannot be destroyed in any way. And Krishna said before, Natvevam chatunasham natam nevichanapna nashevna bhavishma sarvavayamataparam. He said before that to Arjuna, all these kings and me have existed in the past, are existing now, and will never cease to exist in the future. We never lose our individuality. It's like a bird entering, it flies, it's a green bird, a green parrot, and it flies into a tree with all green leaves of the same color. And the bird is into the tree and you cannot see it. You think it's merged, but it's still there. You cannot lose your individuality. So it's fruitless. And the demigod worshippers, they sacrifice material possessions for material enjoyment. You can do sacrifices for every material purpose. They are all described in the scriptures. Whatever you want, you can do a sacrifice. I want to become rich. I want to get honored. I want a nice wife, and so on. You do a sacrifice. and the desires will be fulfilled. That they don't know that in the West. In India, they know that. They do sacrifices for all materialistic purposes. That the worship of Ganesh to be wealthy, that's very popular. The worship of Durga to get powers, to get, to become successful in business. They know that, but it's all material. It's all temporary. So these are sacrifices which are not recommended for devotees. Now we have 26 to 28 different kinds of sacrifices. I just read the verses. Shotadindrinde anyanye samyamachni sujuvati saptadem visyananya chachni sujuvati. Some of the unadulterated brahmacharis sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the sense in the fire of the senses. That so this 26, these are sacrifices for the brahmachari. If you become a brahmachari, you have to do tapasya, control the senses, and not engaging in sense gratification. You eat only when the spiritual master gives you permission to eat. Otherwise, you fast. You have to fast a lot. That creates mastery of the senses, mind and senses, because that's why we are suffering in this world. We become a servant of our mind, who tells, yes, it's nice, eat. Yeah, it's nice, eat, take one more. No, yeah, take one more. That. And then afterwards, have eaten too much, you suffer. So we suffer so much from that. So that's an important sacrifice for brahmacharis you have to do. And householders, they are graduated brahmacharis. They are supposed to control their senses already before they go into family life. Otherwise, one is controlled by the sexual attraction, and marriage becomes a hell. Therefore, first you need to control your senses, and then you become a brahmachari. Then you become a grihastha. And what does the grihastha do? They sacrifice objects of the senses in the fire of the sense. So they engage with their body, mind, and words, with their senses in sacrifice for the Lord. So a grihastha, he uses every opportunity in family life to do this sacrifice. That's worship of the deity, that offering of food to the deity, the son as his birthday. So you engage, you are inviting all the devotees to have kirtan and give them prasad. So every opportunity for engaging the senses and the mind in service to Krishna, that's a sacrifice of a grihastha. Whereas the brahmachari, he sacrifices mental control, and the tapasya. The grihastha will use his senses in the service of Krishna as much as possible. So, and that is the sacrifice of the Riyasta. 27. Sarvanindriya karmani prana karmani sapare atma samyama yojachna shuvati jnana dipite. Others were interested in self-realization through control of the mind and senses, of the functions of all the senses and the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. So this is those who practice controlling the mind. They touch themselves from sense gratification, and they are striving in their lives for self-realization. So this is yogic practice, but also very useful for us. Every moment control the senses, don't let it go astray. With the intelligence we control the senses to engage in Krishna's service and not in sense gratification. Always acting for purification. Kaina manasabhika kevala indiyarapi yogana karvakovanti sanghat chatmata sudai. A devotee uses his body, mind, senses, his faith, his refuge. He invested everything in devotional service to the Lord, and by that he becomes purified. He strives for self-realization. 28. Drafya chahyastat pojahya yoga chahyastat apare svatyaya jnana chahyasa chayata samsitavata. Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. So you have different people here. You have people who give charity, give their possessions away, and that's a nice sacrifice. You become detached, you give it to others. And then you have those who are practicing yoga. Ashtanga yoga, if you are very serious in it, they will follow the rules and regulations, asanas, and the pranayam, and then dhyan, pratyahara, dhyan, and finally up to samadhi. It is a great austerity. And then you have those who study the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Those who are studying the difference between spirit and matter, the jnanis, it's a whole tapasya to understand our real self and what they are not. So these are different kinds of sacrifices. Of course, for a devotee, there are practical things here, especially engaging in grihastha, brahmachari, the importance of controlling the senses. But if one uses his body, mind, and words every moment in the service of Krishna, that's automatically achieved. Then 29 speaks about the practice of pranayam. Apane jivati pranam prane pranam tatapare pranapana gati utva pranayama parayanam apare niyatahara pranam pranesha jivati. Still others were inclined to the pose of breath restraint to remain in trance practice by offering the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others curtailing the eating process after the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. So that's the pranayama practice. So balancing the breathing. outgoing, incoming, and then bring it in balance, and finally then stop the breathing. That's pranayama, controlling the breathing process. In the purpose, Srila Prabhupada speaks about longevity, because many of these yogis, they practice to bring the outgoing and ingoing breath in balance and stop it. And by that they prolong their lives. We have all assigned a number of breaths in our life. According to your karma, your duration of life is fixed. It's fixed. You get a certain number of breaths, not more. But you reduce that. You can reduce that maximum duration that you have by sinful activities. If you do sinful activities, you reduce that. But you cannot prolong. That's the number of breaths you get. And nothing more. And that's how yogis prolong their lives. They bring that in balance, outgoing, ingoing breath in balance. And you have yogis like that who have become 400 years old. But what happens then? They have to leave their body. They die like everyone else. So Srila Prabhupada speaks about that in the purposes. A Krishna conscious person at the end of life is transferred to the transcendental plane of Lord Krishna. Consequently, he makes no attempt to increase his longevity. Devotees don't do that. No, that's an artificial way to prolong your life. But what's the use of this? Sitting there idle, in trance, but it's a peaceful state, but it's not a state that gives satisfaction to the soul. It's not because you live longer, you are more important. Lord Chaitanya was with us 48 years. And spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada became 62, 63, I think, yeah. And even Srila Prabhupada mentioned Lord Jesus Christ, 33 years old. Also, Sankaracharya was not old. Does that mean their life was useless? No. They made great contributions in that short time. So it's not a long life that's important, it's the quality of life. Quality of life for devotee means engaging in Krishna consciousness. Don't lose time. So then, 30, verse 30 is a very important verse. And I would like to start with that next time. Because this verse reminds us of the basic elements of the basic aspects of devotional action. Thank you very much. If there is any question. Good. Thank you very much. Jai Prabhupada.